Good evening and happy Tuesday to you. There's somebody who's texted me and asked me whether I'm okay because on radio that starts from 4 to 6, I said I had a cup of coffee and I don't do coffee, but I've taken so much water, I'm gonna be all right. But being Tuesday, we look at the do's and don'ts of your career. And today we look at choosing your career. You see what coffee does? Choosing your career. And Pauline Keraithe is back, who runs Talent Guru 254. And the thing about picking your career is that there's so many voices, especially between Form 4 and getting to campus. And incidentally, this conversation happens after high school, which is way too late, right?
Yes.
You agree? Karibu sana. I was telling you, you're glowing in the studio.
Oh, thank you.
With the colors.
Thank you.
So let's just get into it with parents. And I feel for parents because, again, does not have a manual. So you have a child whose personality you probably don't understand. But from the onset, what can a parent do to make sure they catch what the talents of the child are?
Okay. So in terms of understanding what your children gravitate towards, the inclinations start revealing themselves from an early age.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I have a small child, I can already see what they already enjoy.
Okay.
And even their character traits start emerging. So if they're an orderly child, you can see they like order and they like organization. And you can see how even they place their own toys. Yeah. If they're free-spirited, you'll even see that emerging at that early age. Yeah? So in terms of the personality and the character traits, they already start reflecting early. So you as a parent, at that point, you're not thinking career, but for you, you should start observing your child to understand what are the things they like, what do they enjoy, what they enjoy more, expose them more to it.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's how we get to actually ascertain that you really are good at something.
Okay.
So like if it's sports, you'll find there are people who have a natural inclination to sports and others who just are totally averse to it. Yeah. Yes, you didn't like it. Yes.
At all.
Yeah, like my young daughter loves outdoors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can already see the day I don't take her out, you can see she's full of energy. She wants to climb your head. Yeah. So she needs the energy. She gets energized by outdoors.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can already see that she loves sports. So when you start seeing those traits emerging, now you start nurturing them.
Okay.
And that's how you now get to establish what people are naturally wired to do.
Okay.
So that's why you'll find now, yes, some people like me, I hated outdoors. But now because of my daughter and I've seen she likes it, I am forced to do it, do it for her benefit. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just observing what they naturally enjoy.
Okay. That sounds perfect in an ideal world, but sometimes parents have a tough time with when they're 3, they want a keyboard, when they're 6, they want a piano, when they're 8, they want acting classes, when they're 10, they've switched, they want to be doctors. So how do you make sure, even as they go through all those phases, one, you don't waste too much money, but at the same time, you keep them accountable to what they want to do?
So, and that's what I was saying, expose them to as many activities as possible initially, and then you'll find what they gravitate towards.
Okay.
So as the years are passing on, you see the activities keep dropping.
That's true.
Yeah, so that you're not investing in everything. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that we are narrowing down on the interest areas. Yeah, so you'll find the one who loves outdoors will take all the sports, will enjoy them, but in the end, they'll have 2 or 3 preferences.
Okay.
So initially, it's important to expose, but they should start reducing with time.
Okay.
Yeah. For focus.
Yeah, I'm just remembering, for me, at a certain time, I wanted to play the guitar. And my mom bought it. And years later, she was so disappointed because it was just dusty and never did anything with it.
Yeah.
So for parents...
So maybe she didn't need to buy the guitar, or maybe what she needed to take you is to a music school where sign you up on classes, you try the guitar, and if you do not follow through on your maybe 30 lessons, she already knows that.
So you cancel that.
You're not there for the long haul.
Okay.
Yeah, so sometimes don't do the heavy investments of going to buy a whole piano, yet you've not fully established that that's your child's passion, you understand?
Okay.
So you do those investments when you're clear and you know that for sure this is where they're headed.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Just
Yeah.
invest a bit, not the whole amount. We were looking at the new curriculum with another guest, and they mentioned that the plan for the new curriculum is to make sure they can tap into your talent way early. Is this a solution?
I think it is. I think it is because our curriculum has been very devoid of looking at people's talents and passions. So it was more of a straitjacket kind of curriculum where the A is what mattered, your knowledge.
Yes.
Yet we're all not wired to be book smart. Yeah, there are people who are wired to be very good with their hands. There are people wired musically. There are people wired artistically. Yeah, so it was like I saw there's a picture that says if you put an elephant, a monkey, and a fish, next to a river and ask them to all swim, you can't judge the monkey and the elephant in terms of their swimming skills compared to the fish that was born to swim. You understand?
Yeah.
So you need to judge people according to their natural inclinations, their areas of passion. Yeah, and that's why you can see we have a lot of people who finish in school but are really not useful to society.
That's true.
Yeah, reason being is actually, yes, maybe they got the A's, but that's not their natural area where they would thrive.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Also, again, talked to a mom who decided to abandon her career to do homeschooling because that allowed her to pay more attention to talents, where she used a whole different curriculum. So for maybe a listener or viewer who's watching and they think I can actually do homeschooling, would you advise that to the formal education we have here so that you have time?
If you have time and you can be able to do it, I've talked to a few people who've homeschooled their children, and it works. Yeah, because you're actually given the curriculum, and you're actually given the lesson plans. It's just the normal way a teacher does. Yeah, but I think that what the advantage of that is that you actually now are able to connect with your child.
Exactly.
And you're able to nurture, especially what I started out by saying, when you see those natural traits coming out, then you are able to identify them and nurture them. But you see, most of us are so busy, you don't even see those natural talents emerging, so we are not even able to nurture them. So there's an advantage of that, but yes, that is if you're able to do it.
Okay. Because I know so it's very time consuming, you need to be there 24/7.
And then disciplined.
And discipline.
Yes.
That's literally living for your children.
Yes.
When we're in high school, would argue that why am I doing chemistry? I don't need chemistry when I go to, to be a doctor. How funny was that? But should you be exempted from some classes in high school, or should you
from
do
the
all
get
of
go
them?
completely?
Yeah? What do you think?
I actually believe there's an advantage of also having that general knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. When I've come across people who specialize from the beginning, and then us who ended up doing like 12 subjects, we did everything to the end. Yeah. For me, when I see certain things happening, I can actually explain and I can actually understand the rationale behind it, like electricity, like like what I was telling you last time, momentum, all those things.
Physics.
Yeah. We used to learn all those things. Then it was theory, but you can see it practically in real life.
Okay.
So for just general knowledge and just going about life, it's important to have that general knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. Just even to understand how lights work. Yeah. It's just to remove ignorance. Yeah. So it's important to initially have that general exposure before now you start specializing.
Okay.
But it's not good to just also over specialize to the point where you have no knowledge of how the world works and how other disciplines also work.
Okay.
So we also did art, we did music, and we discovered, I don't want to do those semi-devi quavers. So we dropped it.
Yeah.
At least I have a basic knowledge of how music works. But I know, and I was very clear that that's not my line. You understand? Yeah.
I'm glad you've answered that question because there's so many young people who complain about the curriculum, and sometimes we just need the bare minimum to get through life. So at what point should you and your child have the conversation about what career they want, like a serious conversation? What do you want to do? When should that happen?
From, I think, 12 years.
Okay.
11, 12 years. That's the point where the child's mind and exposure also. The exposure is adequate. Their brain has fully formed by 12 years.
Okay.
So now at least they can start making rational decisions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so from 12 years, it's advisable because even there are psychometric tests that you can even use with young children to help them now make those decisions.
Okay.
Yeah, so from 12 years.
Can a parent who has a 12-year-old go see a coach, say like you, to
Yes.
discover that?
Yes, so that's what we're actually doing now in the market. We're helping our young people by use of psychometric tests and coaching to discover what they're good at.
Okay.
Yeah, because psychometric tests have been designed by psychologists. You know, we all believe as human beings we're very unique.
Yes.
But well, we're about 8 billion.
We're
We're
about
going
8
to 8 billion.
Yeah.
We're actually very similar in many sense.
Yes.
So there are certain traits, and what psychologists have done is they've studied human beings and our behaviors, and we can be grouped in certain categories.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have people who are very good with their hands. Those are the doers.
Yes.
We have people who are thinkers who like to think. We have the artistic people,
Yes.
who are artistic either through drawing, and also people who are artistic with the way with their words. So that's where you find the journalists, people who are able to write. That's where you can find the poets. Yeah, so that's how you can also show your artistic nature.
Okay.
Then we also have people who just like order. You know, people who are just organizers. Yeah.
Those ones give me a headache.
Yeah. People who like things to be a process to be followed. If you break the process, they just go haywire, isn't it? You know, all those natural inclinations and those groupings actually strength areas that if you put them in a team, that's how a team works well.
Ah, okay, I get that.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that's how you need to understand from an early age. And I can tell you can tell the organized child from even when they are young. You'll see it from how even they organize their own room. So those are natural wirings.
Okay.
So it's how do you work with those natural inclinations, to help them now get into careers that require actually those skills.
Okay.
I always say, if I'm running a cleaning company, I would actually need those organizers. You know, the sticklers, the ones who need to organize.
Exactly.
Those are the perfect people to be cleaners. That's the personality I would look for, because cleaning wouldn't be an issue.
Yes.
I'd know everything will be spick and span and well ordered,
Yes.
isn't it? So we work with our strengths, our personality strengths, and leverage on those strengths into our careers.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's now how we should actually start understanding ourselves from an early age. Though there are tools now that help us do that, even with kids, so that now we start guiding them from an early age. And now, once you've discovered this is their personality type, start now gearing them, giving them exposures in the areas that they will get to see what are the careers to which I would thrive in with my natural wiring, because the reason why people end up being disgruntled in the workplace is they have a certain personality, but they've been put in the wrong job. So like for people who are talkative, who are energized by talking to people, if you had such a person and you put them behind a desk to do research, you've just killed them.
Jesus.
You understand? You've killed them.
With all that energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's understanding what people's strength areas are, and then now using that to leverage as you help them now choose careers.
Okay.
And then once you put them in those careers, they will thrive naturally. Yeah.
And with the song Kufanana Naye, I keep saying the conversation that happens offline is more hilarious than what's on air. But not to worry, we just started, lay the foundation with Pauline Keraitha on what you should do as a parent so that you tap into your child's talent to make sure they end up in the best career path for them. So there's something that happens with parents. So you have a firstborn, clever, kabisa, they go ahead, become a doctor. Secondborn has so much pressure and maybe they're artistic. So what do we tell parents to make sure, one, do not compare your kids to the point where you demoralize the other who might not have the same talent?
Yes. I'm hoping that mentality is changing. And I think with exposure, with a lot of information, with the internet, social media and all, you can see people are naturally gifted and talented. And now it's very clear that whichever profession you take, provided you're passionate about it and you put in the time in it to perfect your skill, you can be as good as even the doctor. Yeah, the musician can be as good as the doctor, isn't it? So I think my advice to parents is to take people as individuals and to nurture them as individuals. Yeah, so it's not one size fits all. Yeah, everybody. And I don't think there's any family where two children are the same.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's also talk about the pressure whereby I've met probably a doctor who's, say, 35. And when you have a chat, he tells you he comes from a family of doctors. It's okay to be a doctor because your dad was. But how do you make sure you remain objective and know that that's exactly what you
really
want to do? Yeah.
Yes. So I have, also come across family of doctors, family of lawyers. Yeah. But and many of them have followed it because their parents told them.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I think there's that thing of wanting to pass it on to generations.
The legacy.
Passing on the legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've also come across where you see now the younger people are more exposed and they are able to say no. So I've come across also cases where people have done the degree as the parents have asked them to, like a doctor. And then in the end, what do? They come back home, they say, here's the degree. But now, actually, my passion is I want to be a DJ.
1.4 million shillings later.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what happens when you force on a career onto a child. So they tell you what they're passionate about. Yeah, expose them and make sure that they're really committed to pursuing that career, and then now you invest in it.
Okay.
But the thing of you telling them what to do, in the end, you will find they will still find a switch. They will make a switch to whatever passion that they would want to do.
Okay.
The only problem of doing that is that you've actually wasted their time also.
And your time as well.
And your time and money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so why not get it right? And now there are tools to do that. So let's remove also the guesswork.
Okay.
Yeah, so when your child tells you this, invest in career coaching. Take them so that they get clarity also about themselves and why they want to pursue those lines. Then after that, expose them into the careers. Let them go and see a day in that career.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if they still are convinced, now you start investing.
Okay.
Because I think there's a lot of money wasted on papers that people are not using. And I think, yes, you'll get the degree, but if you do not use it, it is a waste of time and money. So you might as well not have done it.
Okay. There's something you've mentioned, then it brought to mind, there's a time I worked for a company and a 10-year-old came for a week because she said, I want to do advertising.
Yes,
so the dad
exposure.
said, go and try and let's have this conversation afterwards.
When you're done.
So that's something maybe
Very
companies should
important.
embrace,
Yes.
parents as well.
Most companies actually give internships. They even do work exposures. So insist, before they select the course subjects,
Okay.
they want to go to a specific career, make sure they actually get exposure in that area.
Okay.
So, but even before they select the subjects, let them even do the psychometric test so that you get that clarity. So when you're choosing subjects, it's clearly aligned to the careers that they are passionate about. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done by parents. So that aspect of selecting careers because of what you think your child should do, it has to stop.
Okay.
That's why there are many kids seated in the house with degrees, because you do a career that you hate. So your only thing was to graduate, give the paper, and tell daddy I'm done. That's not why you're educating them. You're educating them so that they become useful citizens, isn't it?
To the society.
So that they can impact the society. Yeah, so that's why we take our children to school.
Okay.
So it's important for us to guide them into the right paths.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last time we were here, we talked about the gap year, and you're very passionate about that. You have the stage. Explain what that is.
No. That's remember I said it's important to also give your children a gap year, because I'm a strong believer. This thing of when they finish form 4, they go straight into university by January. Come on.
Yeah.
So what is the rush? You want them to finish school by what? By 20. Then?
Stop saying that.
No, I'm just saying. A hypothetical. It's a hypothetical. What? A rush against what?
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Let them take that gap year first of all, even just to rest. And I think even our education system, they had already put in that gap year. I remember for us when we finished, there was a gap year before you joined university. In that gap year, I remember I took my first internship program.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And that's I did a 1-year internship in the banking sector. And for me, it was very clear I will never be a banker.
At all?
And I've never worked in the bank after that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see, when you do that gap year, the child is able to now even do those work placements we were talking about. So that they know these are, they can do the work placement in their area of passion or there, where they want to do to pursue a career in. So that they get the clarity that they want.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so they have the hands-on experience, and then all they are going to school for is to now get the actual theory that actually will back up what they did practically during the internship. Yeah, so that gap year is important.
Okay. I think even, you know how the private universities came and they also got rid of the long holiday? Because then you have the option to study.
To do it faster.
And that's why I think public university students are better off
still
because
solid.
you keep doing the internship, but then private rush, then no one.
Then you rush to what?
To begging for interviews for internships for another 2 years. Okay, I hear that. Also, there's the aspect of the education system in Kenya picking your career for you. I once met a radiologist, brilliant lady. She does not want to be there at all, but she got an A. When you get an A, you go into medicine, engineering, law, and all that. So first, has our system failed us in that way?
Oh, it was called the JAP. Is it still happening? I hear now there's they're being given a chance now to choose.
Now there's a chance, yes.
Yeah, now they're being given a chance.
When I was going to school, it was still there.
But ours was selected.
Yes.
That was the biggest failure because that is what has contributed to a lot of people sitting in careers they hate. Yeah. Yeah. When you do interviews now, I can tell you when I do interviews now, 85% of the people I interview do not do what they studied.
Do you know how scary that is?
I'm
Given
telling
how
you,
much time you spend.
it is huge. So I'm telling you, with that system, what it did, it costed everybody at least 10 years of trying to find yourself, find the career that you like.
Okay.
For some people, it was more straightforward because maybe the ones who wanted to be doctors ended up being doctors. Yeah. But even there are some doctors who ended up in the wrong place. Yeah.
And you can tell.
Yes.
You can tell when you visit
you
a
can even
hospital.
tell them when you see them, yes, as they treat you, isn't it? Yeah. So it has, and with observation, I saw generally it takes almost 10 years for you to just find yourself and find your career.
No, that's too much time.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And why it takes 10 years is because now you have to go back to school. You have to reskill yourself.
Yeah.
In now your area of passion. Yeah. And then after that, now you start getting into your career path. Because whatever you did took you too far away from what you're really passionate about.
Okay.
So it can take you another 10 years before you now settle into your career of passion. But I can tell you 85% of the people I interview at any one time, if you look at their first degree and what they're doing now, totally, completely opposite.
Okay.
So it tells you that JAP system did not work completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what baffles me is how I feel like the government does not understand what this means? Because if you pick the right career, then you're useful. Because now we are trying to correct so many mistakes. And 10 years, maybe you got a family, so you have so much strain.
So that's why people get stuck in careers, because you've started a family, you have bills to pay, you have rent. Are you going to start changing your career, or you're going to feed the children?
Okay.
So that's how people get stuck
Okay.
in the wrong careers, because bills have to be paid. Life has to continue, isn't it? So what happens? Majority of the people just give up in even trying to switch.
Okay.
Because there's a premium to switching. You have to go back to school. You have to make the chance.
The time.
You have to take the risk to do the career switch.
Okay.
Which to many people it will be a cost. Sometimes you'll have to even go a step back in terms of how far you've gone in your current career. to pursue your passion. You understand?
Yeah.
So very few people are able to take that risk.
Okay, I hear you. You know, when you said 85%, I remember the last time you were here as well, you mentioned 87% of people don't work in jobs they love.
It actually hate their jobs. It's
Let
a
me tell
global
you.
crisis.
Apana.
It is a global crisis. Yeah? 87% of the people who work
Yeah.
worldwide hate their jobs.
Okay.
And these are the contributing factors.
Okay.
Yeah, how people select careers, I think there was also very little effort put in career selection and career coaching. Yeah, because previously there were no programs to help people discover themselves, discover their strength areas. This is the time you have seen more and more programs coming up in that area. Yeah, because people had not thought it was an important thing.
Yeah.
Yet it's the most important decision you make in your life in terms of your career.
Because that's your life.
Yeah, it's your livelihood.
Yeah. And you know, even the Bible is very categorical about enjoying your work, not just being a robot, which is what most people are. And you'll also be answering that question. How do you make the switch? But for now, you'll have to listen to the song A Marvelous Light, and I'll be sampling your questions. I promise this time. A song there by Hillsong Young and Free. This is Living Life, which is exactly what you should do. If you're going to be awake for 12 hours doing something, at least you've got to love it. And we were talking about the detriments of not being careful with the career you pick. Maybe just highlight a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, as you put it, your career is what you spend majority of your waking hours doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll do it over a couple of years. Yeah, a career is not you spend 1 month doing this, then the next month you're doing something different.
Yeah.
No, a career is where you're consistent over 1 year, 2 years, over a couple of years. Yeah, maybe 20 years or 30. So that's what defines a career.
Okay.
Something done over a long term. A profession done over a long period. So if you do not get it right, what happens is, for me, how I saw it in the workplace, it was depicted by those problematic employees. Those employees who always come to work late. The ones who come and don't do the work. So always when I used to manage people, I used to wonder, so now if you come to work and you don't want to do the work, now what did you come to do? You understand? The other thing is also motivation levels. Yeah, you can see employees' motivation levels by productivity levels. Yeah, a motivated employee will always produce.
That's true.
Over and above. The demotivated employee will do what you want them to do with a lot of difficulty.
Yeah.
And I remember at some point we even used to manage salespeople with warning letters. If you do not sell, just know you will not have a job by the next month.
Okay.
So for me, that's where I could see a lot of disconnect between the individual and the careers they are doing, and if they're passionate about what they are doing.
Okay.
And for me, that's where I was even able to differentiate the importance of getting it right, because the ones who now got it right and prospered in their careers, they just took it and just continued growing their careers. So prosperity came with that.
Yes.
With the ones who were in the wrong ones, so what happened? You end up being sacked, you end up... others get into depression because you see you're comparing now yourself with the people you joined the organization with. Them, they've moved forward. You're still at the starting level. You're still fighting with your manager.
Earning the same
to
amount
get it
of
right.
money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So even earnings, in terms of earnings, you've not grown. Your career has not grown. There's nothing tangible you're doing with your life. You're not being productive.
Okay.
Then that's what eventually even leads people to substance abuse. So the alcoholism, you see people, this Kenyan culture of that you have to drink every day, that's actually
one for the road.
A fix. You're trying to fix those negative feelings you have picked from the workplace where you feel you're struggling. So you need a buzz, isn't it? So that's how people now end up getting into substance abuse.
Okay. I hope people take this seriously by the time we're done. There's a gentleman who's asked the question, is it okay to not have an answer to the question, what will you be in 10 years? Because sometimes you don't have the vision, but what you're doing just pays the bills. And how do you visualize your life and become more intentional with how you live? I like that word, intentional.
Yes. So you have no excuse not to know what you will be doing in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years.
Okay.
They say a man without vision perishes.
It's true.
You
And
understand?
you need to write it on the wall.
Yes, and it has to be written. That's
Yeah.
how even vision boards came from,
Yeah.
from the Bible. So what you need to do is you need to get a mentor,
Okay.
yeah, or a role model. At least, first of all, just ensure you're in the right career. So for starters, just get a career coach to help you first discover who you are, what your strengths are, and if you're in the right profession.
Okay.
So once in that right profession, that career coach can even coach you to see the milestones to help you now progress your career. So you cannot say that you don't know where you want to be in the next 10 years, because if you do not have a vision or something that you're working towards, any road will lead you to anywhere. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, it means you're actually living a purposeless life.
Yeah.
So this is where now personal development comes in. You have to invest in yourself.
And people need to hear
Yes.
that, because after campus,
People stop
just
learning.
leave. You don't learn.
You
You
stop
don't do
learning.
a course.
No.
Yeah.
You have to develop yourself.
Okay.
And that's where now you get a coach, you get a mentor, they guide you.
Yeah.
Successful people you see who are successful, they just didn't wake up and were successful. They got people to guide them. They got people to input into their lives.
Yeah.
They were obedient. They did what they needed to do. They invested. They sacrificed. So it's a path. It's a journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's someone also who said, "Good evening. I'm following the conversation. I relate at a personal level. I graduated in 2013 with a tough course work, only 2 months, then stopped working because of the frustration. I got pregnant, had to stay home again to take care of the baby. But at the moment, I'm doing a diploma in the line, so different from what my parents chose for me. Accounting, which I loved, medicine." Sorry, I didn't get that. What my parents chose for me, accounting, I loved. Medicine, it's what I'm doing now. How beautiful is that? From math to, and it's, I can't trade it, but it's tough because one has to balance books, family, let go of social life. And you remember what you said about 10 years? She says it took me 4 years to start again. So here's what you're going to say. I'm stuck in a job I can't stand. What do I do?
You're stuck in a job and you don't know what to do. So what you need to do, as similar to what I've told the last person, is you have to get a coach. You know, now there are coaches there. There are so
Yes.
many people who are trained to coach people. Yeah. And they're trained to guide you. First of all, know yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're stuck in a job, okay, so number one, you know for sure you don't like this job.
You don't like
for
the
sure.
job.
And it's clear. The good thing is at least you have a job.
Yes.
So you're working, you have an income. So it means you can actually invest in yourself. So get
Okay.
a coach. Go through the process of understanding what are your key strength areas, understanding where you would thrive with your current strength areas and personality. Then once you are able to know where you can thrive in, that coach should be able to give you a game plan.
Okay.
Of all the things you need to start doing now to take you there. What are the exposures you need to do to take you to your area of passion? You actually sometimes do not need to even leave the job. You might actually you can go through the trainings and all.
Yep.
But now, see, we're all Kenyans, we all have a side hustle.
Yes.
Let your side hustle be your area of passion, isn't
Okay.
it? So you can even start your side hustle as it grows, yeah? In your area of passion, eventually your side hustle can become your full-time job.
That's true.
So you can even transition into it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get out of the job, but there's sometimes when it's completely, you can see this is not working, just go retrain and you move.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. There's a lady I worked with, and for her, she was in accounting for 25 years. And I remember even when she was in the job, I always used to tell her, by the way, you're in the wrong place.
Okay.
Your personality, your giftings are in a totally different place, because she was a very social person. So she's doing her accounts, but she's a counselor during doing accounts.
To the clients.
So I used to tell her,
Okay.
can you just do something about that? You're in the wrong place.
Okay.
After 25 years, she woke up, she took her master's, because now she had a degree. She took her master's in counseling. Yeah. And at some point, she just resigned and said, I'm going to follow my passion.
Yes.
She's now in Kenyatta doing counseling, and she loves it. She was telling me she's always the first at work.
You know, the
that's how you tell
excitement.
passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. She sees most patients Yeah, because she's passionate about what she's doing. And
Okay.
that's how we see as HR practitioners. You will see the employee who's passionate. It's because of productivity. Yeah? You'll see they are more productive. They'll do thrice what the other people do.
Yes.
Yeah, without breaking a sweat. Yeah?
Yeah.
So imagine if your whole team of 10 did that.
Exactly, they were in their
You
element.
just shoot up your
Your
productivity.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
so it makes a lot of sense for people to get it right, because that's where we create. When we are passionate about things, that's how we innovate, that's how we create. Yeah, and from a biblical sense, as I was telling you earlier,
Exactly, yeah.
our purpose as human beings, we were put on earth to help God in the creation story. So if you're not creating in your area of passion or your purpose, or even in your job, where you're not creating something new, and helping in
been
the
5
creation
years and
story,
you have no new
yes.
idea.
Yeah, you know the employees who you call for a meeting, they are there. I remember those scenarios. Anyone to speak? No one. No,
Oh, goodness,
no
yeah.
contribution for 5 years in a company. Are you of good use? You're not. So if you're not helping in the creation story, check yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's somebody who sent a totally irrelevant question. Acheni mchezo. Someone is asking me how to flatten their tummy. What? That is not relevant. Wrong number, people. Wrong number.
Yeah.
There's something you said very beautifully, that decision makers also need to understand the fact that their employees are not happy. So I'm thinking, if I have a company and I have 40 people working for me and I can tell 30 don't want to be here, what can I do first to help my business and even help them?
Yeah, it makes business sense for organizations also to invest in helping their employees now discover themselves.
Okay.
Remember, I gave you that scenario where they can start side hustles.
Yes.
So that employee who has that side hustle, that motivates them, you see, when they still come to work, they'll be very motivated. Yeah, because there's now a new reason to work, because I need to finance the
side hustle.
You understand?
Yeah.
When you're working with no purpose, and you're demotivated, that's how you'll make the workplace very toxic and unbearable. So it makes a lot of sense for employers to invest in their employees to do that, to discover their passions, because that passion will still come back to the workplace. Yeah.
Okay. You know, sometimes, in the world of YouTube and digital platforms, I've seen where some companies actually even motivate the employee to get on the digital space, not fully understanding that they're going to help the brand. Then on the flip side, there are companies who will not let you get anywhere outside of the brand, and they don't understand that could actually boost the company, right?
Okay, you know, that was the old way of thinking as organizations.
Yeah.
Where they felt that you can only push the company brand. But going forward, an organization will be judged by the number of key talent they have within the organization.
That's true.
So the more you're able to showcase your talent and the quality of your employees, and this is by allowing them to showcase themselves, that's how your organization its brand is also built in the process. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to be known as thinkers, can you expose them so that we see what kind of thinking and thought process is available in your organization?
Okay.
Or what you have in your artillery as an organization. So that's a very old way of managing people. And I can tell you, organizations that think like that will not survive for long.
That's
because
true.
with the millennials now, there's a new concept that's been brought, that's coming up, that started outside, but I'm sure it will definitely come here. And it's called intrapreneurship. This is now where employees now know their value as individuals, and they know what they contribute to your organization. So what is going to happen very soon is they will not be signing up contracts as employees, but they will be signing up contracts as business partners. Yeah, so they'll bring for you concepts, but they will own part of the concepts.
Okay.
So that they share in the profits. You understand? So that's where the world is headed. So those who think that you can only build the mother brand, you are as good as your people. We say talent is the most important thing in the organization. Showcase your staff. And the more you motivate them to build their own personal brands, the more value they'll bring
Perfect.
to you as an organization.
I like that. We've actually gone into branding, but
Yes.
that was an important thing to learn. Someone is saying, hi, getting to learn a lot from today's topic on career. Been in a job for the past 4 months and I love it. My review will be up in the next 2 months. My performance has been through the roof. I love your
Nice.
confidence. Taking in more responsibility, getting recognitions and awards from my managers. My intentions are to negotiate my salary upwards during the review. How do I go about it?
She's been on the job for 4 months.
For 4 months, and they feel they've been doing well, and they're up for a review.
No, she wants to negotiate for a review.
No, she's actually up for a review.
She's
in
up
2
for a
months,
review.
But during the review, she wants to bring up the issue of a bump in her salary.
Which is still fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you see, the good thing is that now she has very tangible evidence why she feels she needs that raise.
Okay.
The problem-
Actually, sorry, it's a he. He's called
Yeah.
Collins. Sorry,
Yeah.
Collins. Yeah.
Yeah, so he has tangible evidence why he feels he needs to ask for the raise.
Okay.
But the other thing I need to tell Collins is, if he's just new on the job for 4 months, he's not even done with the probation. I'm a HR practitioner.
Yeah, I was like,
By
wear
heart.
your HR cap now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finish your probation. I know there's the salary they had set for that role,
Yes.
but now prove yourself, yeah, going forward, so that you can be able to ask for a substantial raise.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think in your probation, it might be too early for you to start asking for a raise.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So wait, you finish your probation. Now do those tangible things. They've already noticed. If they're already giving you awards.
Yes.
And I'm sure, anyway, if you have a sensible manager and a sensible HR, they have already seen they need to retain you.
Yes.
So they will even give you that bump before you even ask for it. Yeah. But it would be too early for you to start asking for a
Right?
raise
Yeah.
on probation.
I'd feel it would even
Yeah.
taint what he's achieved
So you'll even
so far.
taint, yes, how they
Yeah.
view you. They might even start thinking you're very money-minded. So the thing is, finish the probation, because I'm sure after probation, there is a salary they normally take you to. Then after that, commit to delivering certain deliverables. Then by the end of the year, during the end of appraisals, then now you can negotiate.
And have that conversation.
Yeah,
Which
because
leads
now
me-
it's tangible.
Exactly. Which leads me to the question, sorry. Should money be a factor when you're picking your career?
Career is all about money. Why do we work?
Thanks, Pauline, for coming to the show and explaining that.
Why do you think we work?
Yeah.
We work for money.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's all about money. Yeah.
You're actually saying that in a
It's-
straight
I'm
face.
saying it's all about money.
Okay.
Yeah? Not unless you are very clear that you want to do charity. That's charity work. But if it's
Okay.
a career, it's about money.
Okay.
Yeah, but but it shouldn't be the only thing. Yeah. I tell people, when you're young in your profession, focus on getting the experience first.
Okay.
The money will always follow. Yeah. If you start focusing on the money when you're young in your career, you will spend so much time thinking of the money and forget about getting the experience.
Okay.
So you need to build your career from the get-go with ensuring that you've learned everything on the ground.
I like that. Yeah.
Everything. So your focus when you're starting out in your career is to learn.
Okay.
Expose yourself. Do as much as you can. Yeah? That time, the demands are not as many, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because even if you look at
Even
it
at a
with your
personal
age
level.
as a person, your demands are not yet there. As you progress with your career, that's when now you start thinking of money and you start pushing for the raises and you start putting those targets in terms of what you want to earn as you grow up the career.
Okay.
Yeah? Yeah, but if you start focusing on the money from the get-go, you will not learn what it requires, what is required in the profession. And that's how you find a lot of people's careers ending before they've started.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. First of all, I'm so glad you suggested this topic. I need to give you credit for
Yes.
that. And you're so good at what you're doing. I'm glad God revealed this to you, because this is it, by the way. You come so free. You have everything on your fingertips. You help me personally. Thank you so much.
You're
Totally
welcome.
appreciate your time. And I'm sorry I couldn't get to everything. Maybe we could share your email to someone who requests for it.
Yes,
Perfect.
you can.
And you can talk to her. She's a personal coach. Just talk to her. She'll help you.
But
by
they
the way.
can even go to the website.
Okay.
So it's www.talentgurus@254.com.
Okay.
Sorry,
And the-
talengurus254.com. Sorry, no at.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
And always reach out to someone who knows more than you do so that you can cut the time of making mistakes and you have enough time to recover. Thank you so much for everybody who watched, even for those who reached out and engaged us. Hope you've learned something. Tomorrow we tackled relationships. You might want to tune in for that. But for now, have a good night. My name is Mary Nyambura. Tupatane kesho.